welcome along to another episode of the slightly newly named You're the Ref. In this series, I asked Craig and Charlie a number of controversial refereeing scenarios, fairly niche as well, you may say, and asked them what they would do if they were the referee. Of course, we've had some controversy ourselves live on social media over the last couple of weeks, as both Paul Trevelyan and Keith Hackett have been threatening us with lawyers in public, despite not doing anything personally or privately about it. But we've resolved those differences now, and we are going to be very professional, and Craig's not going to call anyone a wanker this week.
You took the words out of my mouth, Coach.
Thank you very much. As you know, this book is sponsored by and signed by, I keep saying sponsored every episode.
It's not sponsored.
By World Cup final referee Howard Webb, who of course tells us when signing it that he refereed the World Cup final.
And what year was that?
That year was 2010. It was the Kung Fu kick, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. It was a very poor game.
Hello, Charlie's hand, by the way.
I'm just highlighting the fact that this obviously due to the current state of the nation that we're having to do this remotely, and this is the inner workings of the Honest Football podcast. Basically, you can see how amateurish it is already. But for me, but I'm just giving you a bit of realism. That's all. So,
and even here we're reminded of sport because I'm drinking out of my ICC Cricket World Cup mug.
So we couldn't see because you blurred the background.
How professional indeed.
Go for it, Dan. Right.
So, our scenarios each week, of course, relate to a footballing personality of some form. And this week, I've picked one very different to last week because it's a very questionable image, which I'll show you two privately after, of course. But the person in relation, and I'm sure Craig's face will turn even more when I mention a name and then say the image is questionable.
I think he was worried about a questionable image that you were going to send us. I think that was his issue.
But the person in question is former Arsenal and Manchester City fullback Bacary Sagna, and the image is not great.
Is his image in the book?
I don't know, and it's not great, let me tell you that much.
Right.
Hold a minute. We've had Stephen Ireland.
Yeah.
We've had David Moyes. We've had Neil Warnock, yes, legend.
Mike Riley.
Mike Riley. Mike freaking Riley. Howard Webb, and now we've got Bacary Sagna, who...
Yeah, but you got to remember, back then, he was a sought-after right-back.
But at one point, I named him in my shit list.
Yeah, unfairly. I mean, we disagreed massively with your shit list, to be fair, Craig, anyway. And if you want to know
what that's all about... see how amateur we were before. Let's talk about the three refereeing scenarios allegedly relating to Bacary Sagna. And we start with number one. I've just got to mention, when we get to number three, there is a very long Keith Hackett answer here. Probably the longest we've seen yet. But, number one. During a top-flight game, immediately stinks of Bacary Sagna, doesn't it? Top-flight football. Top of his game. We're talking elite level now. No more Stephen Ireland. We're at the top level here. Right.
Stephen Ireland was top.
Well, for about half a year. Okay. During a top flight game, an away team player dashes up to you in a fury, complaining that when he went up for a header, his opponent's long bleached dreadlocks caught him in the eye. He says they're dangerous and the player shouldn't be allowed to play on with his hair all over the place, in quotation marks. What do you do? This is very, very tetchy ground, this.
Right, so let's start.
We're treading a very thin line.
Yeah, let's start this. Make him get a barber.
Yeah, but I don't know.
Get the physio to get the safety scissors out and cut his hair. But there's nothing he can do. There's nothing he can do. Get a hairband on.
It's a cultural thing as well for some people, isn't it? To, have his. You can't start cutting hair because it goes against personal.
Well, we've seen a few instances in America for other reasons that have caused some distress because of that.
Yeah. I don't know. I think, though, I don't think there's a law on it, but I think you can probably suggest to the player that he wears particular hair equipment, like hairband, or whatever.
Yeah, well, you could technically You could technically give the player who was bashing the long-headed guy a yellow card for maybe some of that.
Yeah, but what would you put it in as? You do the form afterwards. Like, what would you write? Like, inappropriate
dissent?
hair? Or something, like...
You could say dissent because it was... you could say foul abusive language if you can.
Ungentlemanly conduct?
Well, that's the go-to answer. What we normally have is... right, so the player with long hair has done nothing wrong. There's probably an accident that his hair caught the guy's face, wherever he was. It's just a total accident. There's nothing you can do. You can have a word with the player. Just say, tie your hair with a hairband or a... I don't know if you do F.A. Sodje away with a bandana. But with the other player, definitely booking for dissent or something like that. Because, or the newer days, it's a sin bin. I was top flight in it, so forget the sin bin. Yeah, just book the player for dissent.
Yeah, I'm sort of inclined to agree to a point, but I think knowing how pompous Keith Hackett is, he'll probably say to the player in a rather sarcastic fashion that he needs to do something with his hair. So I reckon you'll have to speak to the. I think you'll have to speak to the player about it because I suppose it could technically be deemed sort of dangerous. But I don't think legally he's done anything wrong. But I think.
Sorry.
I don't think he'll book him for foul and abusive language. I think it'll just be you just have to speak to the player and let him play on.
I think he'll go for knowing Keith Hackett very well recently on Twitter. I think he'll go for the old C. Montgomery Burns style of shaving the sideburns.
What the fuck was that about?
Simpsons. Oh, Simpsons,
no.
Craig.
I think, Craig, I'm going to save you here. Craig. Are you both in agreement that we're not taking any action against the player with the dreadlocks? But Craig wants a yellow card for dissent.
Yeah, I think that's some of it.
Okay, so let's go to Keith Hackett's answer from 10 years ago, of course. Keith Hackett, first and foremost, take no action. Both
Very
correct.
Good.
There's nothing in the laws of the game to cover this particular point, and if, in your judgment, the dreadlocks don't represent a danger to other players, you should not intervene. But there is no further mention of dissent or anything else whatsoever. That's literally it.
So.
Oh, come on, Keith. That's poor.
Keith. Last week you bloody went on about something.
He wrote an essay, didn't he, for one of them?
Yeah.
I think he was saving space for number 3.
Right.
And
okay.
This week he's been so acute, and it's really frustrating. I'm not trying not to swear.
Don't worry about it. Right.
So you're both level technically, but Craig was closer to half a point than a full.
Can I just say, I've noticed now we've done 5, 6, 7 of these episodes.
Yes,
you're very card happy, Craig. I've got to be honest.
Yes.
You love getting the cards out straight away. I reckon
get a card for him and him.
Yeah, you're booking people left, right, and centre, and there's nothing wrong with that because people mess you around, Craig. That's important.
Cheers.
You got to set the tone early, yeah.
Yeah.
You seen referees like normally take ages to put the card out. So if you get one of those, don't mess with me. And plus, playing against you two on Prevo, Cody always asks for yellow cards early.
It's never too early for a yellow card.
I was going to say, would you book someone in the first 20 minutes, Craig?
Yes.
Yeah, it depends on the booking.
Would you
Everyone
book
would.
Yeah, but is that a golden rule, isn't there? It's a bit like, it's his first one, ref, that kind of thing.
No.
Yeah, but I remember watching the Premier League game the other week and some got booked in the first minute.
Yeah, I suppose. I just think in non-league football, it's very much like...
It depends on the foul.
You're the first... In fact, whenever we play Pro Evo, you're the first one to go, that's his first one, referee, that's his first one.
I've always backed my players. I've always said that.
Right, Dan, scenario number 2.
Moving on.
So basically, Craig's just proven he's incapable of being impartial.
Right.
Number 2. We're going right to the other end here, and how this relates to Bacary Sagna, I don't know. In an under-12s game is how this one starts.
Oh, for goodness sake.
Oh, no.
A striker takes a penalty that beats the goalkeeper, but rebounds off the bar. The striker scores direct from the rebound. You're with me so far? So penalty beats the keeper, back off the bar, scored by the striker on the rebound.
Yeah.
The goalkeeper starts crying. I'm trying not to laugh here. And says, it is so unfair. What do you do?
Hold on a minute.
I'll
let you go first, Charlie.
It's not a goal because, as far as I'm aware, if it hits the post and the same player touches it, you can't. It hasn't touched another player. So a penalty, he can't touch the ball twice if you're the penalty taker.
Yeah.
And technically, if it hits the bar and comes back, then it's
So I totally agree.
So, I mean, the goalkeeper needs to have a bit of a look at himself and sort of wonder why he's crying. In that scenario. I mean, he's 12 years old. If it was a 7-year-old... No, but I'm saying he's 12 years. I'm a bit of resilience. If he was 7, I'd get that. But he's 12 at the end of the day. So
basically, I'd say to your kid, trying to say as a kid, grow up.
As a referee, I couldn't do that. As a moral compass, I would say you need to maybe have a bit of a word with yourself. But I do think that, unfortunately, for the penalty taker, he's technically touched the ball twice. So it's... is it an indirect free kick?
It's an indirect free kick. Yeah, it's an indirect free kick to the defending team.
But I'm not awarding it because the goalkeeper had a sulk. I want that on record.
No, it's definitely free kick to the opposition. Indirect free kick to the opposition. Kid stops crying. We all move on.
Yeah.
And I mean,
and move on.
The question we all ask here is, where are the parents? That's the question we all want to ask.
That's true.
Parents are already shouting abuse at the referee.
Yes, but the answer, you'll be pleased to know, for the right reasons as well, you're both correct again. So disallow the goal. No other player has touched the ball, so restart play with an indirect free kick. One more sentence from Keith Hackett. I should cheer the keeper up.
Cheer the keeper up. He's just got a free kick. That's
Why
cheering
did he
up
need
his
to mention that?
ears.
I do not know.
I'll tell you what, Keith. We'll tweet you and say cheer up next time you want to sue us or something like that. Cheer up.
We've changed the name to You're the Ref. That should cheer you up.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on to number 3 before we
We're
get
two
ourselves
for
in any more
two for
trouble.
two. We're 2 for 2 at the moment.
I know, not bad. So this is a decider if one of you gets it wrong. But we end with a defender going down injured.
Oh god.
Well, that's our forte.
That is all 3 of our fortes. You order him off the pitch for treatment, but 2 minutes later, the star striker who he was man marking scores. You suddenly realise that you'd forgotten to wave the defender back off. The defender's team are enraged. I cannot stress that word enough.
Is enraged in capitals?
It's not in capitals.
Well, then he's not enraged enough.
I've capitalised it with my vocals.
He's not enraged enough. You need that capital letters. But anyway, moving on.
As well as the defender's team being enraged, they're also demanding the goal is disallowed. So what are you going to do if you are the referee?
Well, first of all, that's incompetence of the highest order, isn't
it?
Yes,
it's very bad refereeing to not. But hopefully the physio and the player shouts the referee can like him on the pitch. But technically, he can't. If the guy's through on goal, he can't actually bring him on the pitch. He's got to be in the area.
I think he said it was good 2 minutes later, didn't he?
Well,
yeah, 2 minutes.
Bad referee negligence.
And bad refereeing, but I hate to admit it because there's not going to be a clear winner on this episode.
To be honest,
but
Keith's got a very long answer for this, as Cody pointed out beforehand. So there's got to be.
It's going to be him giving us a bollocking. That's what it'll be. So even though we didn't actually do it, they do say the best writers write from experience. So I think that all of these moments of incompetence must have come from somewhere, like Keith's sort of memory. Oh, I remember when I did that. I write about that. So it's no, I'm joking. No, so I think, Craig, unfortunately, we're both in agreement again that you have to award the goal, despite the incompetent and amateurish performance from you as a referee by not waving the player back on.
Thing is, obviously we're both in agreement, but knowing Keith, we say, the linesman should have put his flag up with something like that, saying you haven't left them on for 2 minutes and yada yada yada.
Yeah, I suppose he might mention that his officials hadn't helped.
Official hasn't done his job. Well, if it's a top flight game, obviously the referees have the headsets on, and maybe they said, the player's still on is ready to come back on, and obviously they can see it. Even the fourth official could help out on that. But obviously for a park game, but as I said, I know it's been 2 minutes, but it's in an area where he can't actually get onto the pitch, then he has every right to not actually bring.
I'll be honest, it's a bit of a ridiculous situation because, like you say, in the elite level of the game, that wouldn't happen because you've got so many eyes on it. At park level, you've been there. There's no way a manager would let a defender be off the pitch for 2 minutes like that.
No,
he'd be screaming his head off at him. So
exactly, and then I'd probably get booked for dissent or someone. But
yeah, Dan, what's the answer?
It has to be in the area. I think it's got to be in a safe area where the defender can actually come on, rather than the guy's through on goal and he can just hack him from wherever.
I love you gave that example, Craig, because that's you on Pro Evo, isn't it? Just hack him from behind.
But I can't bring him on the pitch.
No, go on, Dan.
Well,
what is it?
You're both in agreement for the 3rd time here. I'm going to read you the last sentence of Keith Hackett's answer first. Right. And the last sentence is, what a nonsense. That's it.
What a nonsense.
But back to the rest of the answer. You are both correct. You cannot disallow the goal. The goal must be given. The reasons. You'll have to put up with all the criticism because you've made a serious mistake in not allowing the player back on. Fortunately, this shouldn't happen in the professional game because of the combination of the fourth official and the communication system, which you both mentioned, of course. However, the rule about having to leave the field after receiving treatment is one that he would love to see changed, and of course has changed now for certain challenges and ones that result in yellow cards and things like that.
Yeah.
A few seasons ago, prior to him writing this book, and the reason it's related to at the time Arsenal's Bacary Sagna, is Thierry Henry was injured from a challenge which resulted in a penalty. Having received treatment, he was then forced to leave the field of play, so Henry, Arsenal's penalty taker, couldn't take the kick. What a nonsense.
I think that was a fair comment, if you do that.
Obviously, considering the rule has obviously changed since this book has come out, I think we were perfectly spot on.
Yeah, I do think that Keith needs to up his game a bit with them, but yeah, I think we were generally, I think we make good referees, Craig.
So I do think for the first time, at the 6th attempt, You've both managed to get 100% of the answers right. It has finished 3-3.
And now we're in charge of VAR.
Well, we can all be in charge of VAR because there isn't any VAR at the minute. So
that's a good point. Very good point.
Thank you very much. And on that note, thank you very much for watching as always. This was You're the Ref. And of course, we are finished in a
You're
tie.
the ref.
You're the ref. No,
You're
the ref.
No, you're the ref.
Thank you very much. I'm not the ref, but you're the ref. Okay, if you did
share, subscribe.
Yes. If you did enjoy the episode, please do like it on YouTube, follow us on Spotify, subscribe on YouTube, and follow us on Twitter at HonestFootball3. And hopefully, we'll see you next time, trying to shout over each other remotely again.